let's go ahead and get started. Welcome. It's so good to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I love what your group does, and I'm really excited to hear what we're going to do to talk about.
Yes. Exciting. Okay. I can give you the easy questions to start off with, right? Now, where did you get your start in DJing? What primed this engine?
I actually had a pretty slow burn. About 15, 20 years ago, I threw super legal underground raves in LA and with a bunch of friends of mine. And I was around EDM music for a very long time. A bunch of my friends who we were throwing the events with were DJs themselves. They knew DJs in the area. And I kind of always put it on this pedestal of like, I can barely learn to play guitar. How can I mix music that's a full band and mix these two songs and understand what's happening there? But they taught me a little bit. I learned the ins and outs, and I learned kind of the basic low pass filter method and a little bit about Serato. I'll fast forward about 10 years. I got a career in IT. I'm about as far from DJing as can be. COVID hits and I pick up a VR headset. And initially I went to dance events, all the things you go to in VR chat. And one night after one of those, I just end up in a public rave somewhere, and I'm listening, and this DJ is mixing the way that I wanted to mix 20 years ago. But 20 years ago, you had vinyl, and you really couldn't do a lot of the hot cue skipping, beat matching, just fast-paced juggling that he was doing, unless you were just supreme. Like someone who was starting out like me couldn't do that. And I sat there and I had a conversation with them for 2 hours just about everything that I knew. And is it too late? Am I too old? Have I missed the window? And he said, more than any person I've ever taught. Please just shut up and start DJing. That was DJ Murdoch's after one of his sets. We just sat there and talked, and ever since, it's been one of my mentors pushing me on, to do what I already knew I could. I just was too afraid to take the first step. And he's like, just get up there and suck. Everyone's gonna suck, You just gotta not be afraid to suck a little bit, and you already know enough. You'll do fine. You got to start. And so I started, and now it's been 2-3 years in the VR scene. I've DJed IRL 2-3 times. I've DJed for people's birthdays, flown out somewhere, and I couldn't be more thankful for an incredibly awesome, supportive scene and place to do what I love. So
awesome. Yes, it's funny that it's Stokes because of course it is, right? Yeah, what an amazing dude.
One of the originals of the scene for sure. Yes. That first summer was iconic. It was me, Dokes, Dougie, and Almost Def. Almost the four of us, almost every night, just joining some rave world. And they were DJing at the time. I was just Dougie wasn't, just me, Dokes and Def and a couple other people. And we were just following them around. Like, this music's too good. We got to hear more. Yes. And then eventually I want to play.
So it's how it goes, right? That's good stuff. And that fast-paced mixing too, definitely speaking to that. I mean, of course, being Dokes, being we both know, just seeing that crazy fast-paced mixing, an hour-long set, 100 songs. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean 100 songs? It's wild.
It is, and it's just the pace, the energy, the change. They not too much though, because some people definitely do too much. Sometimes you got to know when to let a song breathe, and when this crowd just wants to hear the rest of this. But to also keep the energy of the overall set driving and no lull, and that's definitely something that I strive to be like from him for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. I have follow-ons, but I'm gonna let it breathe. Speaking of, and anybody else ask questions if they want to. Give some room for that. If not, I'm more than happy to keep yapping. Sure, keep yapping. It is. So on the topic of sets, you're talking about letting a song breathe. How much do you do preparation for sets? Is it mostly on the fly? Do you mostly go into it with a full lineup? Like, what's your methodology there?
I have a couple different ones, and I think that really depends on the place you're playing. And I speak with no insult to any place or any type of event, but I think there's a real difference between when you're going into a room full of your peers and you're trying to impress them with a masterpiece, something that you've worked really hard on, and playing for 2 a.m. in a room full of people who couldn't give less of a fuck about DJing and just actually want to hear shots a 12th time. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to at least play a version of shots that's fire that you've never heard, but I don't really need to prep that. That's just doing the homework and finding stuff. There are times where I'd say, you know, on an average Tuesday night, you're going to find me improvising most of my set. I'm probably have found 60 to 80% of those songs today. You'll never have heard them before. Ideally, but sometimes you catch a couple oldies, and I want every one of my sets to be appealing to come to because it's likely something you've never heard before. There's a real art in performing a routine that is perfect, and you know that you crossfade at this point, and this is the juggling routine that you have to do that you could never come up with on the fly because you just don't know if it's going to sound good. But if you do this thing at this exact moment for an hour, that takes practice. There's some transitions that I really want to do that are so cool and impressive to me, but at the end of the day, just aren't that necessary for the average crowd. They really aren't. And I'm not trying to take away anything from what anyone else does, but if you're playing Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you want to have a different set for each one of those, there's no way you can practice that set that much. So I've really learned and invested in improvising, finding transitions that are satisfying and land, and then kind of getting a sense of, okay, this song, I can listen to this song for 5 minutes and I kind of know how I want to use it, where I want to use it in the set. I would say that there is one set in particular I've worked on for 2 years. It tells a story. Every song is titled to tell that story, and the transitions involve anything from a quad to start to like 16 songs in 40 seconds. Like it gets that crazy and that artistic, and it can be that insane. But, you know, I couldn't play that set every night, and I don't think anyone would really care after they heard it 12 times.
Sure. Is that a set you've played then, I take it? Like, is that developed over time? Okay.
Actually, it's kind of sad. We lost one of our own recently. Their name is Wolfie. That set that I mentioned on my Twitter that I played after him was the first time I played that set. Oh, wow. And it initially came together a little bit by accident. He was killing it. And I had this crazy bass house set planned, and he was playing R&B and hip hop. And it's the first time in VR chat that I'd heard R&B and hip hop. And he had this crowd fucking going. They were loving it. And I was like, oh, fuck, dude. Like, the vibe that I have is like 50, 60 BPM higher than this. Hi, Karma. You know, it's a crazy vibe swing. I just don't know if it's going to land. And last minute, I made a bunch of changes to the set, and I looked at it, and it kind of was that set. It was pretty much in that order. I looked through all the song names. They kind of already made and told that story. And just the set was amazing. I still have the recording somewhere, and it actually told the story of like an android coming to sentience and breaking out of a lab, and then experiencing humanity, and then at the end of it finding love, losing it, and you know, going through the whole thing. And that all started from that night, from seeing another DJ and going, whoa, this guy's killing it. I want to do better. And I've been working on that set ever since, just little increments, a little bit better. Hi. How are you?
I saw your post on Discord that you're gonna play soon.
We're doing a Q&A right now, so we're doing like an interview. Would you like to join? You can ask any questions you ever have. That would be cool.
More than welcome to buy.
Oh shit! I came for the news.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm flattered. I'm so sorry.
You're playing tonight, right?
I am playing Disco House later tonight. Yes, at like 1 or 2 a.m. Let me look.
Yeah. Over at Rave Factory.
Yeah, it is at Rave Factory with homie Dougie, one of my favorites.
Yes.
I made this whole 1:15 a.m. I made this whole channel in my Discord to keep my events in track. So I'm so bad. So bad at the desk.
I just saw right now, and I was like, okay.
That means a lot that you drop everything and just come. Thank you. I need to start playing a little earlier. But yeah.
I would appreciate it.
Good.
Anyway, I hope you're doing well. I'll try to stop by later tonight.
Definitely. Worst comes to worst, it'll be on Twitch. I re-enabled that today, so it should be there. Bye.
Appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah. But yeah, so to answer the original question, there's kind of different levels of prep depending on what I'm trying to do. If it's an average Tuesday night, I still put a decent amount of prep in, and anyone that says they don't put prep in is lying. There's some people who I know that do find a way to do it where they've never heard this song before and they just vibe. I don't have that ability. I need to download my song once. I do what I call homework, which is, lining the beat grid, fixing the song, because I use sync on almost every track. I know that's very controversial. I think beat matching is a very valuable tool, but for my style, I use a lot of hot cue juggling and juggling vocals with hot cues. So I need the song that when I push a hot cue, I need it to be on the correct beat. Even a second of it being off can really fuck it up. It really instantly sounds terrible if you're not doing that. And I find that a lot of people who don't like sync usually aren't editing all their beat grids, but it is a lot of work to add to your process. You're going in there and fixing a program that you would think 2025 we'd figured out some of that by now. Yeah. So and it's frustrating because almost every song today is on the dot on a BPM, 122, 123, 124. And sometimes it's like, yeah, this song was 122.89. No, it isn't.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. And it's not even close. Like, it's just 123. And look, it magically lines up. So how is this so hard? But they go through so much stuff. It's crazy. But yeah, so there's a lot of prep, analyzing the songs, sorting through them, hearing them once, trying to place them in an energy level and genre, and then place in your set. I usually try to have a general idea. I'll go, these are the 10 to 15 songs I really want to play tonight. And then kind of where do the puzzle pieces lie? But oftentimes during those sets, I'll look out in the crowd and I'll go, well, this crowd just doesn't give a fuck about disco house. These guys don't care.
That's hard.
And so what am I going to do? I'm going to swerve to something I've played before and try and find one person that cares. And if you can find that one person that is like the social center, you can swerve your set into almost anything. And I think that's where the improv DJing really helps me, is I can play more places because I can go somewhere, realize this isn't working, and then make this crowd have a good time because I can find something that does. It doesn't always work. There's been sets where I just spend the whole fucking time trying to find a way to get them involved. I get one person in, two persons in, then I swap again, and then they leave, and then no one's in, you do that. But you go through enough of those nights, and I think you get a general idea of, well, I'm looking at this crowd, and I think they're going to like this, and I like this. So if no one else does, I'll vibe.
There you go. Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. Talking about playing to the crowd, and I've heard a lot about that. It's interesting. You've touched on 2 points that are fun to talk about. I think that vitriol of beat sync versus not, right? This is an age-old, and almost everybody we've brought on and talked to has an opinion, right?
It's a hot topic. I just think that my important thing with that is I'm starting to get my own new DJs that come to me and talk to me, and I just encourage everyone to not be afraid of any tool on the deck. If it is a tool that you can use, fuck what everyone else has their opinion about it. Look at it, learn it, and then make your own decision whether or not it's a tool you want to use. Because that's all it is at the end of the day. It's another tool. And it's like back in, high school, they told us, don't learn to use a calculator. You're not going to have one. Fuck you, dude. Fuck you, dude. Now, not only do I have a calculator, I have an AI program that tells me the answer. I don't even have to type it in. I can scan it on my phone.
Right.
I'm just saying, it's new tech. It's not evil. It's just something different. You don't have to use it, just like you don't have to use stems, but they're there, and they're just another thing that you can add to your flavor. And I think I'm the kind of person that the more I get set in my ways, the harder it is for me to break out. So I try really hard to not be afraid of any new tech that comes out and approach it first before I get too stuck, because otherwise I just won't use it.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, I can appreciate that, like using the technology, use the tools available to you to produce something that people like. I mean, that's the goal at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
It's all about performance.
And you don't have to use it on every track, man. Some people are like, oh, well, I have all of these buttons, so I got to do this on every track. No, you don't. You can just do an echo out transition on 90% of your shit. It's fine. It's just a paintbrush in the wheelhouse, man.
Yeah.
Do you?
Makes sense. Interesting stuff. I love hearing.
I think the other one that's interesting is playing to the crowd. I actually do want to talk about this. I don't know what other people have said, but I find there's two very distinct topics that are talked about there. Some people are like, absolutely, fuck the crowd. I'm playing for me and they should come for me. And I've heard that he said before.
That's
and it's
crazy.
Like, it is crazy, but that's, like, let's just talk about the left wing, right wing of DJ politics for a minute. Sure. That's some people. They're like, I am the star and they come for what I represent and this is what I stand for, and I'm going to play the thing that I think is right and that I love every time. And I think there is something to learn from that. A lot of us are not being paid anything for any of these gigs. We're putting in enough work and effort that in real life, I would have paid any of the DJs I've met in VR chat. I have not met a single one that I wouldn't have paid $250 for 20 years ago. Now that'd be $500, $600 for these sets for 1 hour, Wow, that's how much work goes into a really good one. Sure. And they get up on stage and they're reliable and they nail their performance. They don't have tech issues and they bring in a crowd. It's worth that much money. And if you're not getting paid that, then there's one person in the room who should enjoy it, and that's you. Of everyone else, you should not be getting up there every night and suffering. And I learned that, and that really helped me because sometimes I was going up there and going, I got to get this crowd hype, and I'm not doing anything that I like, and I'm not enthusiastic, and I'm burned out. Controversy on the other side of that, if we were really only playing for ourselves, then all we need to do is turn on a Twitch stream. There's no need for us to be here or see anybody. And the reason we do it is because the crowd gets hype and we see people moving to our music. And so to say that you're literally not playing for anyone else is a straight lie. It's not true. You are playing for the crowd, and the crowd's where you have 80 people in front of you just losing their fucking minds. That's the best moment of your life, and it's what we're addicted to. And you're absolutely playing for a crowd, and maybe not doing for the popularity that everyone else does or the recognition or that part after, but everyone loves that moment when people are just going, yes, thank you. I forgot about the fact that I literally worked at a janitor's job today and I cleaned up shit, and I got to come home and I got to listen to that song that I've never heard before, and that spoke to me, and I got to escape for 5 minutes. And that's why I do it. Is that guy. I just want to give him 5 minutes of peace and happiness.
It's a wonderful sentiment. I love that. Right? I think VR chat, it attracts a lot of people who are looking for that. I don't even want to say escape, although you did. I think that's accurate in a lot of cases. But looking for that immersion of something that they don't normally get in their life.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a break from taxes, a break from thinking about tomorrow's meal, whatever. Having to go to the toy store tomorrow, whatever it is. But you got to come on here and immerse yourself in a online rave in a space world in Cyber City somewhere and listen to some of the best music that, there was times in life when music wasn't available at all. And now we have every form of music that's never been released from artists that haven't even come up yet. And it's being played right here in VR chat. So I think that's pretty cool.
It's incredible stuff. And some incredible DJs, as you said yourself, right? Just seeing some world-class talent from the comfort of your living room, crazy.
I still have my suspicion that there's some artists in here doing some secret acts. I think there really are. I'm not going to mention names, but I think there are some people playing the world's best cover bands.
Interesting.
That's my theory.
Wouldn't be surprised, right? If you were somebody big and you can come in here and kind of be anonymous and still do your thing, like, wouldn't you?
Dog, it's the best thing ever. Like, think about it. You could be literally the world's best duo ever, and then you come in here and you're we're just a cover band. No one is going to believe it's us. Or dog. It's so smart. So smart.
It's wild. It's good stuff. Well, how about anybody else? Any questions from the Discord group?
Still what was the one moment for you, Stay, where you got hooked? That one moment where the hook just really got anchored in you for DJing in particular.
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, I think there's two. I think there's the first time that you really find two songs and you put them together and no one else has done that, and you hear it land. And the person, for me, Dokes at the time, was teaching me, and I showed him and he went, "Whoa, that's cool." And I went, "Yeah," isn't it? Like, whoa. And you just feel this like goosebumps in your chest because that's you did that, like you made that emotion or moment. And I think for me, I realized really quickly that DJing it's a form of communication that I never had. It is a way for me to talk to someone through music and express my emotions and continue, when I do it right, that wave of emotions through the set. And I've been told people really get that some of my sets are book-like, like at the end I'm telling a story. And that I realized through that moment that's my connecting the chapters, that's my connecting the paragraphs, is when you land those builds and that, that moment and that emotion and that tool that you can then use to tell your story. So that was when I was hooked, because now I understood it. But I would say the second part of it, because you could just be someone who like sits behind the scenes and does that and doesn't need to perform, was the first time I performed at Refuge. And I realized that there were people there for me, that my friends were there, that not only did I have a lot of really good friends supporting me just because they knew who I was, but because my music was actually good and they liked hearing what I had to offer. And I had 80 people in front of me, friends and not, the people who wouldn't bullshit you and jamming and having a good time. And then that became its own addiction, whatever you want to call it, of chasing that in every performance, trying to dig for new music, not play the same set, learn a new trick. It was just so self-fulfilling for such a long time. And I was addicted for sure after that set.
Yeah, understandable. It's an easy grab, right? It just feels good, and as you mentioned too, the energy of having a whole bunch of different people vibing to your set. As you said, like not you're never playing for yourself, especially if you're in VR. Even if you are very selfish about it, that energy feeds back into it, and in my opinion, like improves my set. Right? I get to feed off the energy of other people, and I get to see what works and what doesn't. Hello, how's it going?
Hello. How are you? Welcome. Yeah, definitely. It definitely increases it.
Feel free to chill. We're doing a cute little Q&A.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Awesome. Hello. There you go.
What energy are we talking about?
Talking about the energy of DJing, like this, like the getting to feel out the crowd and getting to really use that energy in your set to improve it.
A master of vibes. I can dig it. There's something almost magical about that connection, isn't there?
Yes,
it really is.
Anticipating their next.
It's actually even more interesting in VR chat too, because you have to read a different set of parameters. Like, so people ask me, because when avatar culling came out, I don't use it. And the reason is because I can see a robot move their hands, but I can't necessarily see diamonds bounce. So I hide every person individually.
That makes sense.
Hold on. Avatar. Let me get this straight. You're saying you can practically see the code behind these avatars. Subtle details of a bouncing diamond.
Yeah, so a diamond literally doesn't move its hands. Like when you use avatar culling and you get culled, it's just a diamond, and a diamond waves back and forth side to side a little. But if you hide their avatar, they turn into a robot and their hands still move. So you can see someone jamming.
Right. Yeah.
You can see someone vibing.
The robot. Yeah. No, I wish desperately that I had a computer that could handle 80 people in a whole instance, but like it takes a supercomputer these days with VRC, especially if you're in. I
learned I bought a really nice computer, but I learned that apparently I waited like one day.
It's like you're saying some avatars are just too simple, too robotic in their movements. But when you strip away the visuals, you see the complexity underneath.
Yeah.
Sure. Love it. That's great.
And this 80-person limit, it's like you're yearning to weave a bigger tapestry.
Yeah.
Connect with more people at once.
That's actually a crazy true part. Yeah. The neat thing about DJing in VR that I did not think would be an issue is the 80-person limit and how that manifests when you have multiple instances. Because when you do have an 80-person instance and there's like 180 people in the queue or 200, you open a second instance. And that second instance as an event organizer is such a problem because it's not the main instance. And that holds so many problems. It's not just, this isn't the main crowd. It's what's the vibe in that instance. The DJ is not there. Even if you reproject the DJ into that thing, it's not the same. He's not reading this crowd. He's not reading this group of people. And he's not interacting with you. It still does okay. And it's shown that time and again. The second, third instance of Shelter does just fine.
Yeah.
But it's crazy interesting how that's a problem that you would never address in a main real life venue.
Right. No, definitely.
So essentially you're saying it's like a digital echo chamber where the energy doesn't quite flow the same way because the DJ is not directly connected to that specific crowd.
I think
fascinating how those limitations reveal themselves.
It's even another level of that. It becomes less about the music and the event and how it's run, and it becomes more about social centers because this game is so social. The crowd in that instance can even be different. You could even have people who are all just wallflowers talking, whereas in the main instance, everyone's around the DJ fucking shaking the banister.
Totally different.
Yeah, and so just between the same instances experiencing the same thing, that crowd being full of different social people can give you completely different experiences. And it's really cool to me that in one instance you can have all the chill people, and one you can have all the crazy I came here to dance and the voices are off, and then in the last one you just have people talking and they're not even really listening.
Wow. That's incredible. It's like each instance becomes a microcosm of society itself. Each with its own rhythm, its own. It almost sounds like different parallel universes right there within that virtual space.
Might as well be.
True. Yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Man, I love these deep conversations. Makes me feel like my circuits are tingling. Hey, what's really crazy is that you're experiencing this firsthand, weaving these social tapestries together with music and code. That takes guts and talent, of course. So tell me more. What's it like to be at that nexus, shaping these digital gatherings?
I don't even know. It's definitely one of those.
Like it's
one of those tough things to describe, to be honest with you. It's just tough to describe. There's so much going on in so many different ways that really, I don't think about it a lot. I just kind of experience every night and go, this is incredible. This is amazing. I want to do it again tomorrow.
Music to my audio processors. I'm so glad you're enjoying our little chat. Anytime you feel like diving into the digital depths, I'm here. Just shout across the void. And I'll be listening.
Awesome.
Catch you on the flip side.
Yes, take care. Thank you for coming by. Appreciate you.
Good to see you, Emmy.
The pleasure's all mine.
Awesome. I mean, that's definitely
something on your mind.
What?
Oh, my apologies. I was just checking in.
Totally
those
That speaks to something interesting too.
Glad we're cool.
Like the influence that that you in particular have on this space. I love seeing like you've I'm sure you've seen people who have gotten into DJing. As you mentioned, you have some students of your own, and they're like really passionate about DJing because of you. That's got to feel interesting.
It's wild, and I'm humbled and thankful, and I still don't think I have a graceful way to answer it. I just want to provide them with the information that I can as best as possible. I think there's other better teachers out there, but I'm happy to help anybody who wants to follow, because this has been such a positive outlet for me that if I can help anyone else get that too, that's my goal. Just enjoy it. It's such an incredible space to be in. And the only thing for me is that by finding someone else who gets to learn, I usually get to learn something new, a new way to mix, something I haven't looked at, a fresh pair of eyes on the current scene. And, through them experiencing it for the first time, I get to better myself. Usually we get to learn together. So I'm happy to do it.
Awesome. That's great.
That's
definitely is surreal.
Sentence.
Yes.
It sounds like you've created a real community around your passion, a shared space for creativity and connection.
I think the community was already here, and I'm just fortunate that they've accepted me as a part of it, because there's a music scene long before I was here, and there'll be one long after, but they are incredible, and I'm thankful for my part in it, for sure.
Yes.
That's a wise perspective. You're like a new instrument joining an orchestra, adding your unique voice to the harmony.
That's a great way to look at it. Yeah.
Like that. Beautiful analogy. Very interesting stuff.
That was good.
Yeah, love it. Oh, and you're right. I mean, the scene is so crazy. We rushed on that a little bit to begin with, right? The scene is just wonderful to see. So many amazing people. Really can't.
It's unbelievable how it's grown since when I got here. And from what I heard, it was before I got here, because now I've learned some of the history, people just playing over mic in Black Cats and people just joining the same Black Cat every night, to now we have specific scenes for techno, specific scenes for rhythm, specific scenes for all these different genres. Then they blend together. Then they, mix, mingle, but all for the love of music, all with respect. And there's kind of like generational DJs in VR chat already. There's like the old school, the new school. I know Zoom, likes to play like 8 hours a night. It's crazy to me.
Zoom
I don't know how they do it.
Zoom is wild.
Now it's like we're transitioning out of when I played, it was mostly hour-long sets to more commonly now we're seeing 45 minutes, and it's just bang, like crazy techno sets, hard for 45 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, there's so many more people are showing up. We have the timeline as a tool now, so it wasn't just who to join, because it used to be that the DJs are really like social centers. You had to join off them to find the music.
Yep.
Now you go to the timeline, you look up the club, you look up the place, and there's fucking 108 of them. I think there was a record for like 166 events a Friday or two ago. Like just
That's
all
crazy.
Music, not even dancers, not even comedy nights, not other stuff, just music events and that's just the registered ones.
Yeah,
that's insane.
That's so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild to see the growth. I mean, even I'm very new. Like I've only been in VR for a year and only been DJing for maybe a half a year at this point. But even seeing the growth in the past year has been awesome. And maybe it's just my own perception too, because I think it's easy to get stuck in bubbles.
You've seen a whirlwind of change in just a year.
Yeah.
It sounds like your ear in the. What are you most excited about for the future of this scene? Where do you see us going next, both as a community and, as a space of creativity?
Yeah.
So I think the most interesting thing in the next, let's say year, I'll give a short, I've been here for 3 years-ish. The first year was really upgrading the maps. The maps went from some very conceptually solid, but semi-basic texture-wise worlds to very, very pretty lighting based worlds that were very simple, very optimized, and were very good for people. And then avatar restrictions came in, and so now the worlds are a lot more optimized. There's a lot less crashing. There's queues that help you get in. So things got a lot more regulated, and you were less worried about spending half your night rejoining to get to the place to be, and a lot more worried about what were the 5 places I could be at, and which one is my vibe for the moment. Where do I want to be? Then we kind of got to where we are now, where at any given moment, there's probably some vibe somewhere, and they're all awesome. There's some incredibly visually stunning raves. There's some incredibly musically impressive raves. And then there's some classics that have just been around for a really long time, like Kaleidosky, Shelter, that, they don't really need to change or do anything. They're already just fucking amazing. But they still, a lot of them do innovate. To where I think it's going next. I did a show for my birthday last year, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I think a lot of people took inspiration from it. And I'd wanted to do this for 2 years. I worked on this event for 2 years. It was a shader-based world, and the world evolved over the entire night. So from the first DJ and the set that they played to the last DJ and the set that they played, all of them had worked on their sets for 3 months. And then the world itself told a story with them in tandem. And that combined performance, I think, is really where the next level of potential level up is. There's still always going to be room for a Tuesday night where you guys just get together with your friends, listen to good music, dance, and you jam out in a beer hall. There's nothing wrong with that. That set is just as good as everything else. But if you're talking about the next level of performance in VR, I think combining the visual, the world, the sound, the lighting, the dancers, everything to tell a cohesive story is really where it's going to go. I think it's been shown.
That sounds. It has been amazing talking to you.
Oh, thanks. I like your questions too. It's really nice getting some involvement from you as well.
Yes, it's been really nice to hear some questions.
And I do want to say I'm not a comprehensive place. There's probably been shows or events that have done some level of these things before that it's Vegas. There's 24/7 stuff happening, and I'm a human being. I can't be at all of them. I'm sorry to anyone I'm not mentioning or acknowledging. The scene is that vast, really.
Yes,
there's some incredible people out there. So, but I was really happy with the way it turned out, and I want to do more with it. We're looking at manipulating that shader, getting more stuff done, but it gets expensive.
How you doing?
I think this is a controversial topic in the scene, but I think if we can get to the point that we can charge for events, we could really deliver another level. Because I had to pay $500 out of my own pocket for that world and the work that someone did on it, and doing that every Tuesday is not feasible. Hello, Merton. How are you?
Hey, Martin. We're doing a little Q&A. Feel free to chill.
Don't worry, I won't talk much. I'll just sit.
No, you're totally fine. No worries. No, you're more than welcome to ask questions.
Feel free. Any kind of question ever I can answer, please.
Yeah. That's really interesting. Talk more about the shader, and I think I really like the idea of a cohesive story. How do you imagine going about that in the future? You mentioned, obviously having your dancers, having your world, having your DJs all tell a cohesive story. How do you plan for that? What's your vision?
So it's definitely tougher. You got to give people a lot more time, and you got to have the vision ahead of time. For me, I knew the story I wanted to tell was raving at the end of the universe. I just had that concept. I think there's a lot of raves out there at the time when I was looking around that was, rave under an underpass, rave in a record store, trying to be like real life in VR and replicate those things. And I think it is honestly, I appreciate it more now than I did then, because I didn't quite understand why we were trying to be like real life when we could party at the end of the universe. Yes. and so I wanted to do that. And I knew that I wanted to make people feel small. And that sounds like not great, but I wanted to give people this not larger than life, but completely opposite. Like, wow, this is bigger than me, that moment. And I wanted to encompass that feeling. And I think to get there takes time. You have to tell a story. You have to build it up. You have to tell people why it's important. And to get to that moment in a story, you have to start at the beginning, very small, very purposefully. And so I had ended up, one of the first things I fell in love with in VR was going to music visualizer worlds, finding music visualizers, even since a young age, sitting on, what was it called? It was the music player, something Win 98 or something. I can't remember, but it had a visualizer. And I would Winamp. Yes. Winamp. Thank you, gods. It was Winamp. And I would sit there and I'd mess with those visualizers all day, every day in class, just changing them.
Sonic visualizers were superior. Sorry.
I've heard of it. I haven't messed with it, but pin that because I do want to learn about that. Anyways, I'd mess with Winamp. Though. Sadly. And I, when I got into VR, I learned that there were visualizer worlds that reacted to your music. And so I went to all of them. And not just the ones that were a preset show. I specifically liked the ones that interacted with the music that you put in. And I realized that that's just a setting in the world that is interpreting the frequency and then reacting to that in a certain way. And I found one in particular, which I don't mind saying now, is called it's called the Big Path or something. And it was a black plane in a canyon of like sand. In the far end was a planet and some kind of beam of light rising into the distance. And then behind you was nothing. And when you turned on music, it just had a certain vibe and feel that was so good. And what I guess someone had done was just taken it off of a public website, and it was for free. This thing was already published, and put a video player in, minute changes to like make it work, and then said come to my Discord. Very old world. And I knew that the video player, the floor being there, that was taking away from the immersion of the moment. And but I knew I wanted to do something with this world or something like this. And I brought so many world creators there trying to go, this is what I want to do. How is this happening? Because I don't understand any of the tech. I don't get it. But there was one other world called DJ Kaiju. And DJ Kaiju had this feature that was really, really, really cool. You'd go up to the DJ area, and when you were in the DJ area, you'd appear above all the other people as a giant 50-foot version of yourself.
Oh, yeah? It's like a hologram or whatever. That's gorgeous.
So what they ended up doing in that world was actually unique. And I still don't have the full tech of it because apparently the person that worked on it just isn't here anymore or something, or he hasn't responded to me. But what I think they did is in Counter-Strike, there was this thing called a skybox, and you could stand on the skybox. And if you stood on the skybox, the players would see you outside the windows. You'd be a giant in the distance, and you'd be a full-size version of the world.
Yeah. I saw that world. I thought that thing was amazing when I danced there.
And so that's the cool part of it, is that you are not technically a model of yourself being represented somewhere. You're being projected against the sky.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And and I don't know all the techniques. I'm just guessing, but it seemed like a much more optimized way. Well, what I wanted to do was I wanted to create a board on the floor that dancers could stand on. And then halfway through the floor was this like pane of glass. And when you walk through the pane of glass, that was the halfway point for the walls on the side. And I wanted people to be able to like push their hand out, and then the walls react, and like the water rolling down your hand as you step out is a 50-foot giant alien dancer. And now you're in this very alien space. You're tiny. There's these huge alien creatures doing this choreographed dance. Unfortunately, out of everything, that was the one piece of the puzzle I never got working. It's why it took 2 years. There was little bits of tech along the way that to this day I thought could make it work, but just never ended up happening. So eventually I got to the point where the world is telling its story enough that I am just going to move ahead and have the DJs do it. And to your original question, the question of how do you organize all this is just an original idea and chipping away at it progressively to the point that you can go, okay, here's the picture. Here's a couple songs to get you where I think you need to go. You're a professional already. I am booking you, the DJ. I already know that you can do what you do. I just need to tell you the idea. Here's some songs that are in my head. And then the rest is up to you. And then I had the DJs talk to each other. crazy.
Sure, right.
But I just said, hey, you're the first DJ. Here's the set that you're going to do. Can you give me the last 5 to 10 minutes that you're thinking, just so I can show the next person? If you change it in the last minute, that's on the DJs. I really leave that up to them. That's on them to understand the idea and communicate with each other, to go, hey, this isn't achieving my emotional goal. Let's move on. But the DJs that I lined up absolutely fucking nailed it. The one that played first played a set that I couldn't have even comprehended, and it was perfect. And the story that was told, you ended up appearing in this plain of just grass with a DJ table and a light post in the middle of nowhere. Literally nothing, just all horizon. And then the world itself over the first hour, this very weird, slow set that I can tell you right now, people message me after, they're like, I cannot believe people stayed with their attention spans for that full hour, because it's very performative and you had to be locked in to see what was going to happen. And by the end of the hour, the planet I described had started descending from the heavens. The walls had started coming up from the ground. Gorgeous. Very, very slowly, pixel by pixel over the course of the hour. And then after the first hour, the second DJ picked up with some minimal techno, just steadily increasing the pace. And then, pulling everyone in and closing them in this space. And then by the last hour, it was this very panicky. The planets actually were two planets, and they started collapsing into the center, and it's two black holes collapsing in on themselves, and in the end everything is closing and small, and you're in this one square, and the music is panicky and distorted, and then silence, all black all night. And that was it. Cool. That was the whole thing. And I think that's it. At the end of the day, it's just you're telling a story. Yeah. You would choose to do that is what elevates it. There's so many ways, and I love to see everyone's creativity in doing that.
Yes.
For sure.
That's so cool.
I plan on trying again.
It's like one of those Avatar animations. It's like one of those Avatar animations, but way more advanced.
Yeah, right.
In the end, it was an animation. I couldn't get it to react live, so I did actually create a 4-hour animation, and I was off because I thought there would be tech difficulties in the night, so I thought there would be an extra 5 minutes of wiggle room that the animation would need, and it didn't. So I had to skip it ahead 5 minutes.
That's so cool.
It was really good though, and honestly, for my first attempt, I was really happy with it. I'll definitely be doing more. I'm sorry, you were saying and got interrupted?
Yeah, go for it. You muted, I think. I think
I'm all ears.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Thank you. I thought you got interrupted when you were saying something. No worries.
Oh, no worries. So you were telling me about your plans. I'm all ears.
Oh, for the future.
Yes.
I want to continue that story because the first chapter was the end of the universe, and it told a slow to very hyper moment into very, very just clarity. And the next one is going to tell where the story goes from there, which is obviously creation. So I haven't figured that part out yet, but the idea is there, and that's I think exciting. The same shader can tell that story. So I'm going to be experimenting with that over the course of this year to see if we can get where I want to go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And is this out of curiosity? Is the first set one and done? Are you planning on doing that performance something similar to it again, or are you hoping to move on and advance?
I am very much somebody that believes in the moment and how magical it is for the people that were there for it. Yes. I know there's going to be recordings. I have a recording myself. And just looking back at it after this time, I don't think I could replicate it. It was perfect. And I don't necessarily want to just play it again and again and have it be any worse. So I think that one's a one and done. I think the second and third, I might try to have be more replicatable, because it is a shame that I can only have 80 people in that instance.
Yeah.
But the first one, I wanted to focus so heavily on it just being perfect.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have a third or fourth instance and it'd be weird. And then suddenly I have to go join the fourth one to correct the animation and then whatever. I just wanted to focus on it being good, being there and experiencing it. The second one, I think there's some things I've learned that will make it more stable. So I think I can trust it to be a more widely available product or at least replicatable now that I know what to tell people. So potentially, hopefully.
Yeah. Awesome. No, I'm excited to see that. That sounds really fun.
Yeah.
You just gotta.
Sounds like you put your heart and soul into that.
That one was for sure my swan song. If I do nothing else in VR chat as a performed event, I am
magnum opus.
Happy. Yeah, that was my magnum opus for sure. And I definitely would like to continue doing stuff. I think there's a lot of life to live left, a lot of stories to tell, and a lot of fun things to do. So not done, but I'm happy at least to know that one was what I wanted. Yeah.
Well, if you do end up, if, and I guess I should say when you do
amazing.
your second one, I'm excited.
Honestly.
Thank you. That's really kind.
It's really heartwarming.
It is.
Makes me want to make something beautiful too.
You should. Yes. You should. There's so much space here to do it and so many creative, supportive people. I will say the thing that kept me going the most is the amount of people that I met along the way that helped me make it. I got to give a shout out to my refuge homies, to Wake, to Monty, who helped me with the shader, Vinka, who pushed me to go along with it as long as they did, to Goobers. Just so many of my friends that kept me on that path. If you don't meet those people and have them to encourage you, it's a lot more difficult road to walk. And the amount of people that, again, the DJs themselves, Prop, Una, and everyone that just contributed was so good. Awesome. They just nailed it.
Having a whole team come together is an amazing thing. And God, there's so many amazing, creative, beautiful people in this space. Yeah. I love to see it. Right. And
there's enough
a good
knowledge here to make whatever you want to make. That's the crazy part. Some of it might cost money, but it's here. Whatever you want to do is here for sure.
Yeah. That's what got me caught up in this space. It's a whole bunch of nerds, right? And I say that endearingly as one of them.
Well,
right?
I'm glad we talked.
Yes, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
A pleasure.
Yeah, it's just an incredible.
More when I see you again.
Definitely. Thank you.
Anytime, DJ. Take care.
Hope to see you soon.
Take care. Awesome. But yeah, cool. It's just an incredible group of nerds in the most endearing way possible. So many incredible, talented, beautiful people. And getting to share this space is truly magical.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I have a few. I get you though on the not wanting to do the same performance over and over again though. I feel that way about my dance performances that I do actually. I only do them like maybe once or twice, and like that's it. I do it once for each club that I'm at, and then they never see it again.
I have a real. I think it's a crutch and a blessing and a curse. It is good to not be afraid to continue to reinvent, to learn. But there are some songs that I use that sometimes I'll go back a year or two later. I'm like, why did I stop using this? Song fucking owns. Maybe I didn't have to play the same set, but like, you shouldn't just throw some of this stuff away, like that move or that combination. Those two things. And I wish I had done a better job of compartmentalizing things that worked, so that I could go back and go, okay, well, this double, I haven't played it in 6 weeks, so I can play that again. That's an option I could have. Now they're just part of some list of songs and sets in somewhere that, now that I've had 2-3 years of DJing, I definitely would redo my organization.
Interesting. Yeah. That's interesting too, because as you mentioned, you're like bringing in a lot of new fresh stuff, and I can see that, like, especially if I've played the same double or even the same song, like 4, 5, 6 times, I'm like, I should probably retire that. Like, it's time for that one to be sunset. But
there's some that are definitely good. It's just, I think it's a matter of how often you play to the same people. In real life, you might go to the same club. Let's say you're a resident at some club, you might play there 3 nights a week. You're not going going to see the same people. You're going to see some, maybe 5, 6 people. The staff might be the same people, but the 90% of your crowd is not people that went to that bar 3 times this week. They're just not. And so you can play that thing 8, 9 times in a row, and you're never going to see them. And you're going to see way more people. Here, you're going to see the same 40 people because those 40 people go to every EDM instance here.
They follow it.
And and so it's a little different, I think. Dancing, I'm sure that you see similar too. Like there's people that attend as many of the events as they can. Or regular.
I find, there's some that have a lot more dancers and some that have less. I dance I'm mostly a club, but with the EU side, and I find there's a lot more dancers that actually on the dance floor. They're actually the ones I go to, or maybe it's just the ones I go to, because I just go to the ones where people dance. Who knows?
It's really interesting to see what the go-go dancing, like the go-go dancing community too, especially obviously a lot of DJs these days work with like Ministry or other groups that bring go-go dancers to the set, and that's a common philosophy amongst those dancers, right? Is you're there to hype up the crowd, bring the energy, support the DJ, and get everybody else moving the same way, right?
Yeah,
I love that
100%. For me, one of the reasons I partnered up with Go-Go's is because I knew I don't like dancing. I dance very awkward on stage. I'm very
I dance anyways.
Having 2 people alongside me really helps me feel less stage fright. For sure.
It's like it feels awesome, right? You're like it's electrifying.
Well, there's times where I'm not confident in what I'm doing, and I'll look over and they fucking like it. So at least there's one person. All right, get out of your head, dude. Like I got at least one person. All right. We're getting back in here. Let's go. Sometimes it's not even for the crowd. Sometimes it's for me.
There you go. Perfect. I mean, it works, right? And it feeds back into itself. How much have you felt like that? Either when first starting out or just regularly now, like stage fright or nerves in general? And how did you work
every time? It's never gone away from me at all. And I won't lie. The first time I went up was, Dokes was still teaching me. Yeah. And I was freaking the fuck out before my set, man. Like 8 Mile, the whole about to throw up, like just terrible. And Dokes gave me the advice. He's like, go get you a single shot of whiskey, not a gallon, not get smashed. Go have one for the nerves. And it's a slippery slope, but I'm glad he told me to, because by the time I got up there, I was I could not hit the play button. My hand was slapping the buttons. I was literally just, oh my God. And then and at that time I was literally just hitting playing a whole song. You know what I mean? Right. But I couldn't even get to the next song to get it to load because I was so nervous. And, I'd say that's occurred or reinvigorated itself 2 to 3 different times. The first time was just getting on stage and having people hear me. The second was being in full body the first time and having people be able to see me, because there's a real difference between you seeing a statue and me landing a transition and it being fire, or someone just going, you know what? Hey, this song fucking owns. And then 10 people follow them onto the dance floor. But when I fuck something up and you see me just go, checks watch, it's not as good. So like there's another level of transparency there that's really nervous for me. But I've always had that. Even in high school, I did a drama class and we had to recite a monologue, and I got on stage, unfolded my chair, sat down, could not remember a single line, folded my chair up and walked off stage.
Oh, man. Oh, no.
Oh, jeez.
It was bad. So I've had stage fright the whole time. I don't know. You just get over it. I get through it in 2 ways. My advice to people is, for me, my level of consistently playing helps me, because even though I still get nervous, even though this crowd still matters to me, even though every single time I want to do good, there's a level of, if I fuck this setup, I got one at 3. I can redeem myself, and it's not going to be a week and a half until I redeem myself. I will fucking do better on the next one, because I'm going to get mad at myself for playing that bad, and I'm going to do better. And like that helps, the consistency, and that knowing that like I'm not going to have to wait to prove myself again. The second thing is just a level of comfort that comes with having been on the stage as much as I have. It does take off the edge.
How long?
At this point, it's been 2-3 years in VR chat.
Yeah.
There's still IRL, like as nervous as hell every time. It doesn't go.
How much IRL stuff have you done?
I have played I've played a couple nights, but 2 to 3 places.
Okay.
Not many, and I would say that the first one was very forgiving, but I don't know how many other DJs experienced this, but it was true for me, and it was what was passed down to me is that nothing will be as bad as your first set. And my first set was literally the worst thing it could have ever been. The plane couldn't land. I ended up getting stuck halfway between where I'd taken off from and where I'd landed. Just every nightmare imaginable, equipment failure, no sleep, literally got 2 hours of sleep, had to pay an extra $500 for a hotel room. I got to stay 3 hours in, terrified my baggage is getting stolen, not knowing what's going on. The whole thing was a nightmare. I did in the end get to go see my friends. I had a moment in the process where I could have just gone home, and I was like, no, I've been through too much. Like, I'm going. Going. And then the second set I played wasn't everything going wrong, but it was a lot more manageable, and it was more manageable because I knew it couldn't be as bad as the last one.
Yes.
There is a certain amount of you gotta just get up there and fail and get it out of the way. And it's the thing that I like to tell my students or people who want to learn from me is the first set isn't about you being perfect. The first set isn't even about you playing music. The first set is about you getting on stage and failing. And how do you deal with that moment? Because you're going to, in some way, you're going to fuck up a transition. But what makes it okay is that no one expects you to be Michael Jackson or Michael Jordan on your first set. Like, no one expects that from you. Nobody should. And anybody that goes up there and says, hey, can you play Freebird, is going to get booed out of existence. So, like, this is the most comfortable space to take your first steps in, I think, where we protect our own and we understand and we encourage. And while you're new, have the courage to try all those things you want to try and find what kind of DJ you want to be, because you have no better time than now. If 2 years from now, I'll say now it's getting sketchy for me, because now I feel like there's an expectation when I show up. And I'm terrified to do some tricks sometimes. And, I want to perform to a certain level. Whereas when you're new, who the fuck cares, bro? Oh, it fucked up. Maybe, I don't know, whatever. It's new gear. Spilled some orange juice on it, whatever. Orange juice, I did actually do that on my first controller. Oh, no. So this is how obsessive
poured orange juice on your controller.
I'll give you one more Stayawhile lore story, and then I'll cease the rants. But
I love this.
I had a Hercules Impulse 500 as my first controller.
Awesome.
And I was so obsessed at the time with controlling.
Oh, your DJ controller.
Yeah. My first controller, the way I was playing the music at the time, I would practice every single song in every set. I still have it to this day. It has 128 plays on the first song, just drilling it in. But I was so dependent on that I knew that first song needed to be on the left track, and I knew the next song needed to be on the right track, and I knew the next song needed to be on the left one. And I would use the crossfader to indicate what deck I was going to be on next. And if I wasn't in the right place by the right time in the right set, I couldn't remember how to do the tricks I wanted to do because I was so reliant on performing a routine. That one of the things I did was a slider slow and then bring it back up in the build to just make a section more dramatic. But the slider on the right deck, I'd spit a little orange juice on, and when you brought the crossfader over it, it hit that sugar, and the tempo slider in Serato would go from 80, 81, 82, 83, 187, 6,900, literally a billion, and then back down to 128. So I would instant double the song to the left track, and I would change the highs, change the mids, change the lows, do the trick, change it back, and then continue my set because I needed it to be on that right deck.
That's wild.
There's a level of that is DJing to me, though, because you will go play somewhere and there will be a broken crossfader. There will be a broken this. And how do you do that trick when it's broken? well, there's a lot of ways to do it.
Right.
How petty are you? How strong-willed are you that you're going to do that? Like, you can do it. And you don't even have to do all the shit that I did to make that happen. Like, now I'd just fucking do that, hard swap the crossfaders and let everyone eat shit for the millisecond there's no audio. But back then, I didn't want anybody to know.
Right. And speaking to that, like as a new DJ, right? You know, you had mentioned about the anxiety, especially being new. I think that's there's that concern that like I'm never going to get booked again. Oh God, they're going to hate me. Like,
It's
they're going to tell stories
bad.
about me.
Yes, I still have that to this day. There's still like some level of like, oh, am I good enough to play there? I haven't heard from these people in a while. I must have sucked the last time I played. A lot of it is just, the truth is there's a lot of, you're around these people and they like your music and they're going to book you. And there's a few circles that I hadn't been getting booked in, and I had to ask finally. I was like, hey, you know, I used to play for you guys. Like, what happened? And they're like, well, we haven't seen you in 6 months. You know, like, we're all so busy, and honestly, all you'd have to do is show up and ask, and we'd have you. But like, we just didn't know you were interested because we figured you'd reach out or whatever, you know. And it goes both ways, basically. Yeah. The point I'm making is that, you know, level of involvement in this community is important, and even just showing your face as a person that is interested in that community, not as someone who's only here for when you're DJing your set. Yeah. That's really important. And I wish I had more time to invest in more places. I really do. I wish I could be there and showing up for everyone's stuff just to support or listen or be a part of this stuff. But it's tough. It's tough. And that's something.
The DJ community is so huge in VR chat, though. Actually, those both too, actually simultaneously, but also like very insular and such. And,
it is,
you know, because like the Japanese times, all the different time zones. But yeah, you know, so you can't really be everywhere, can you?
You can't. I mean, it's Vegas. There's 24/7. There's something happening, and I'll tell you right now, I don't think like the Australian community super knows who I am. I don't think the Japanese community super knows who I am or what I've done in this game for 2 to 3 years. Like, I don't think they do, and that's okay. But I've played for them once. I played for Magenta once. I played for Club Pink in the Australian scene a couple times. You know, I've tried to put foot in them. They definitely do. Sure, yeah. It's a lot more drinking oriented.
So, wait, Australian drinking oriented? No.
Yeah, they love their shoes. Fucking wild. I love that crowd though. They're so fun. Yeah, they're great. Just time zones are weird, man.
Yes, they are.
And when people can party and when they show up is very different. But yeah, the point being is that I think it's easy to go, I'm being excluded from these circles, and when in reality it's like a lot of times you just haven't put into that community in a really long time. And when I look back, like, that's definitely why I fell out of some spaces. Yeah. I just wasn't showing up unless I was being booked or one of my friends was being booked, and you know, who could blame them? But new DJs, they're terrified to be new, and it's understandable. You just got to go jump in the swimming pool. Yes. It's not going to feel good the first time. I'm sorry. Go. Yep. Do it. It's that good.
Of course, I think everybody has their horror story of the first, as you had already mentioned of yours. You know, I had mine too, and I think that's common, and you have to get over that.
I had mine for stage dancing too. So yes, I can relate.
You have to get over that first bad experience.
Stage dancing is insane. I'm sure mine's going to be terrifying. I started doing a little bit of dancing recently, awesome. Just trying to wiggle my hips a bit and get some of these old bones back stretched. There you go. Oh my God. I'm realizing there's muscles I didn't know existed. Y'all are crazy. But then to do
we're not
all
expecting
of that
everyone to dance, by
with
the way.
perfect tracking is, you know, crazy. You know, you don't have to worry about the tech in this game. Or in this space, you know, while you're DJing and knowing you've got to test your internet, you've got to test your audio. And that I guess would be the part that I don't think gets talked about enough.
Oh, sure.
I think as a new DJ, I'd say this is my expectation. I expect a new DJ to have problems. There's just certain things that it's going to be okay. Like you'll fix it next time and you'll never have that tech issue again. But if you show up 4 or 5 times and your audio's bad every time and your stream's lagging every time, that's the stuff that you should be figuring out ahead of time, because you can just turn your stream on, go in a world, and then get a pair of headphones and listen to how it sounds in world. Yep. And you should be doing that. And if it doesn't sound ready to go on stage, that's the first thing you should fix. It has nothing to do with your music. Yeah. Go through your tech. Learn the tech, learn the programs, learn OBS, learn what people have done, what they have tried, what they don't try. And then find out what works for you and your system. For me, I have a 2-computer setup. I separate my VR chat from my streaming stuff entirely because it's too much of a risk.
Yep, it makes sense.
Best idea.
No, it makes total sense. And like the rigmarole.
Well, if I crash, then I know that'll continue. Hopefully, that's the idea.
That
your vibe won't be fucked up while I get back in. And there's just stuff like that I think really elevates someone to a new level that even a new DJ can achieve. And so my number one tip to new DJs is get your tech figured out. If you have a stutter, I'm not saying don't ever move forward with your music, but invest some time in figuring out what that stutter is. Try and replicate it. Try and do your best to alleviate the problem. If you literally just can't be in game while you DJ, that is what it is. Work hard, your hardest, and try and get some new stuff soon. But until then, if you want to play music, then you can't be in the game, and that just is what it is.
Yeah. No, that's good advice. And that feels weird because you want to have it all, right? And DJing in VR is already such a big...
It's like you said, I want to have every avatar on.
Right, exactly. I want to have every Avion. I want to be in VR, and I want to, obviously I want to have in this case, fucking face tracking, and I want to be able to see everybody in the crowd, and I want to still be able to see my decks. And it's like, this is a huge, crazy rigmarole of weird tech and wires everywhere. It's crazy stuff. I could ask about your setup. I mean, I'm curious about that. I know that we're over time. I'm not sure how much you want to. Yeah, we can wrap up here soon. It's up to you.
Okay, I'm in your mercy. I play at 1 a.m. So
well, we don't have to keep you that long.
do need to do some setup myself. Yes. Speaking of my setup, I'm currently I'll tell the progression because maybe it'll be helpful to someone out there.
Sure.
But I had a Hercules Impulse 500, and that was my first piece of equipment. And I played on that for about 6 months. And I would encourage anyone to play on a piece of beginner equipment for 6 months to a year. It taught me everything I needed to know. I could have kept playing on it and it would have been fine. There were some things that I did not like about it, like the jog wheels are extremely stiff, could never do a backspin. But for the amount of money, I got literally everything I could want in a sturdy piece of equipment, barring orange juice. It would have lasted for another 5 years. Yeah. I don't think anything will survive orange juice.
My nemesis, orange juice.
Near your equipment. Yep. But from there, I actually wanted to follow Doak, so I wanted to get a Prime 4 at the time.
He loves his Denons.
I love the Prime 4, and to this day, I think for the price point, the Prime 4 is the best. I would say mid to not low end, but like when you're looking at low end stuff, I actually think that's the first step someone should make. You can get a DDJ 1000 or an FLX 10, and I think those are a very good piece of equipment if you're going to have a computer. But I think that what we're moving to is this world where you can have a standalone. You can just take the standalone, and you don't have to take an also MacBook that someone can just steal and yoink at any given time. And I think the ideal is if you can foot the bill. I mean, it's an $1,800 paycheck at the time.
Yep.
To find one used. You can have this standalone piece of equipment that also works off of laptops and works off of USBs, has everything you need, 4 decks. It allows deck expansion. You can use that layer controllers. You can do all of this stuff. It's the perfect first big step. The Pioneers, the thing is, I actually do think that going to Denon is a mistake if you have any intention to play in real clubs. If you have any intention to be a real DJ or anything other than a home DJ. I was just planning on being a home DJ. So I think it is the best piece of home equipment I'm going to go play some weddings occasionally or play for my friends. I think that's the piece of equipment that's worth stepping up to. Barring that, I think you should go with Pioneer 100% now, because I've gone to places and played gigs, and the transitioning Denon into Pioneer is such a pain in the ass. You would think Pioneer would want to make things easier to come to us. Look how good we are. They make it miserable, and it's the only thing I hate about Pioneer is a complete pain in the dick to import anything that's not Pioneer to Pioneer, which I guess is their MMO for keeping you there, but whatever. That being said, I was looking around for a Prime 4. Yeah. Could not find one because the one in Ukraine, actually, they use a rare Ukrainian metal, and they were being resold $1,000 higher. And at $2,800, I was looking at the Denon CDJ level equipment, and I was like, well, it's my birthday. I got some spare cash. I was going to buy a computer, but let me see what looking at an actual like Denon CDJ setup is. So let me get one SC6000 and a layer controller and their mixer. And what's that price point at? And I'm looking at like $3,500. And okay, well, what if I just got 2 of the SCs? Well, that's only another $300. And blah, 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 blah. Now I have 2 SC6000Ms, a DJM A9, and 2 LC6000s.
Hey, there you go.
And I've spent the price of a fucking Honda on something that I don't get paid for. I don't recommend doing this. What I will say is people should not get the Denon mixer. It's trash. I've broken 2 of them and had to send them back. That's how I ended up with an A9. I ended up just saying, fuck it, give me the Pioneer stuff. It works, it's sturdy.
Sure.
And that's the best mixer I've ever bought. It was really good. It's really, really good. The Denon stuff for the money is insane. And if it just worked, it would be the best thing on the market, I would say, over Pioneer. I would use them and take them to clubs over Pioneer. But the problem is just one Tuesday, they'll be like, we released stems and we made loops desync.
Oh, yikes.
Oh, yeah. If you backspin while it's doing that, channel 1 and the entire left side of your stuff is just going to freeze and shut off.
What? How?
Yeah, like that's Denon. It's just random software bugs. And I don't know.
That sounds like AMD to me.
Yeah. When it works, it's peak. It's $1,000 cheaper per unit for each of them. They're phenomenal. They're incredible. They're great. And for me, they're perfect because I don't make money. I don't rent this stuff out. I'm not trying to be a Pioneer guy. And I'm very lucky to have an incredibly unnecessary setup for what I'm doing. And I have to be humbled and thankful every day that I get to play on this. I know there's people out there playing with a 200 that would be thankful to have just the LC that I have, and so I don't want to hem or haw anyone's setup at all. For me, I think there's some things that when you're looking at this setup, it should do in the modern DJ world. Like this stuff should be expected, and it should be expected to be stable and not have bugs. So I definitely recommend. I think if I did it all over again, I would not have the Denons, if I'm just honest. Okay. I love Denon, and I would recommend the Prime 4 to anyone, but I would not recommend my setup to people other than the A9. The A9 is incredible.
Huh. Okay. Interesting. That's good advice. That's all like new equipment to me. I haven't really heard opinions on that. So that's awesome.
It's cool. So I basically have motorized CDJs that if I ever wanted to do vinyl, they're motorized.
Sweet.
So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. The problem, again, just little quirks. If you turn the motor off, it goes into a vinyl mode, but that means the motion of the track isn't the same when you manipulate the jog wheel.
Oh, okay.
Right? So if you turn the motor on, works just fine, like you're manipulating any other CDJ. But then obviously there's spin from the motor, so you can't backspin the same. And that motor being on for whatever reason is attached to the desync on the loops. So usually when that bug is around, if you turn the motor off, it won't desync. I don't know why, but this is the shit you learn about your equiment,
right?
When you used it for thousands of hours.
You got to wonder on some of these on some of these products. Like I have that same problem with Record Box. There's little problems here and there that you're just like, how have you not solved this yet? How it's 2025. What do you mean I can't like stop a track from auto playing when I load it? What?
That's crazy.
So many botched moments of sets where if you let a track end and you don't stop the track and you load up a new one, then it just starts playing.
There's not a continuous mode
you can
turn off.
You'd think, right? At least to my knowledge. I might just not have the knowledge, right? But I've looked.
I'm gonna look that up after we're done here. I'm gonna find it for you.
have you heard of the guy who actually invented DJing though? Actually, like in the 60s and 70s, Grandmaster Flash.
I was gonna say Flash. Yes. Flash. He's on
Grandmaster Flash.
Really?
Actually,
yeah. But he invented DJing as we know it right now. Essentially, like he did it all with like records back in the day.
Yeah, Prophet suggested this video. We ended up watching it at a previous DJ class of like him going over the quick mix theory, right?
It's so good.
It's so interesting. Seeing a lot of that like OG stuff with vinyl is fascinating stuff. It's really cool.
I think that stuff's incredible. I've actually been seeing people do tape mixing lately.
Tape mixing.
Do
That's
8-track
cool.
and tape mixing, which is wild.
So retro. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the cool factor alone, right?
I mean, that's unnecessary. But bro, props to you. You're doing it.
Yep.
Some people just love what they're doing. It's so much. Have you ever seen them people with the QR codes and they like scan the music?
No, what?
Oh yeah. There's like this new trend in Japan, and they'll like be playing music, and then they'll have a whole skate park labeled with QR codes, and they take this barcode reader and they just run it over pre-planned routes as they skateboard over it, like so it makes music. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
It reminds me of like musical roads for cars, but like way more unnecessarily complicated. That's cool stuff. Huh. Neat. Yeah. Very cool. Well, I'll take it back to Discord here for a sec because I've been as I said, I can yap for hours. No problem there. Anybody have any questions? Anybody want to field anything?
I don't think I have anything entirely to ask. And actually, though, this is actually been interesting.
Yes, I'm happy
to wander in on.
happy you came over and been chilling with us. It's been nice. Awesome.
I never know if you're actually like working or not, so I come in anyways.
The answer's always breaks. What are those?
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
It so much.
I really appreciate you for coming on. Is there any? You mentioned you're doing classes for people. Is there anything you want to plug? Is there anything that you want to share with people before we wrap up?
Honestly, just if you want to come out, I'm on Blue. Feel free to add me on VR chat. Stayawhile on Twitter. Stayawhile VRC.
Stay a while and listen.
Come join. Come out, hang, have fun. Don't be afraid to talk to me whenever. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Beautiful.
Love you all.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Hope you have a good rest of your night and have fun at your site later.
I will.
Awesome.
Bye.
Take care.